Another shot is coming raw and unbounded. The whiskey's always talking and the beer's overflowing. Another shot is gonna hit you with a mind overloaded on it. The bar is always open with no inhibitions. Another shot will leave your sensories twitching. Just remember, everything we say is just our opinion. But then again, it might be the alcohol talking. It might be the alcohol talking. Let's go.
Welcome to another Shot Podcast, where our opinions might be real, or it could just be the liquor talking. Sit back and enjoy another shot.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to another Shots Wednesday night open bar. Yes, Kitty Cat knows exactly where I'm wanting to go with this one. If you did not pay attention to my little snippet I always put out there, guys, if you are easily triggered, one of the rare times you're going to hear me say this is not going to be the place tonight. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's opinions, and we already dropped the link. So if you're game, click it, and we will run it. I am going to start this one off. We don't talk politics on here, and I promise you that's not going to be tonight's topic. But I will say that we here at Another Shot send our condolences to the family of Charlie Kirk, who, as you all have heard, was assassinated. They're referring to it as assassination. I guess either way. He was shot and killed today at a rally he was doing at Utah Valley. I can't remember if it was college or university. The video has circulated. He was struck in the neck and unfortunately took his life, leaving behind a wife and 2 children. You know, normally we try to be whimsical and fun, and you know, we try not to delve into some of this stuff. But apparently, we as a people have other ideas in mind. You know, that's not the only thing that has happened this week. You know, I've said this a million times. Where the hell are we anymore? You know, it wasn't all that long ago. We touched on a little bit. Yeah, they've had their cute little protests here, you know, down with the king. We don't have a king and all this other bullshit. How about everybody's favorite thing to do is pull out a cell phone instead of, you know, helping somebody. Speaking of helping people, you all here has heard about the incident in Charlotte, North Carolina, about the young Ukrainian refugee immigrant that got on the bus and without provocation, no reason whatsoever, the gentleman behind her produced a pocket knife and Bailey stabbed her in the throat. No cell phone video of that either. Oh, I guess you can't say there wasn't cell phone. There was thousands of cell phone videos. Trust me, that is circulated. What struck me on that one is the surveillance video shows this gentleman do it, get up, walk to the front of the bus. One person approached him. Nobody knows what the hell was said, if he even said anything to him at all. You see other people just, one lady just, I mean, she looked like, a duck on the pond, just put her purse on and got up and walked away. The other people in the back just kind of sat there. Do you want to say shocked? Meanwhile, this poor girl is looking around for help. There's blood all over the front of her. She's crying her eyes out. She escaped Ukraine to get away from the war. Only to be attacked by somebody that has 14 previous arrests and had just gotten out of jail not long before. Oh, wait, you want to know the kicker? It has been uncovered. There is actually a GoFundMe that is raising money to help keep this man out of jail, out of prison. Get him his mental health. Get him help. Wasn't his fault. Again, today's incident. I mean, honestly, you got one side screaming, oh, gun control, take the guns off the street, take the guns off the street, We can't comment too much on that aspect of it because we don't know who this person is. They've had 2 people detained and they've released both. But coincidentally, killed by gunfire.
As soon as he brought up the guy, as soon as he said something about that also with the gangs, he said?
No. Oh, okay. I thought you. Sorry,
No.
that was me. I take that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. He brought up the person talking. Coincidentally, brought up gun violence and his stance on gun control. He sits back, gets ready to make his statement, and boom, done. And even for me, that was a tough video to watch. And me being me, had to make sure I sent it to other people so they could see why I was wanting to have this discussion tonight. Stuff like this has even struck home. Our friends, the Southern Outlaw Band, was attacked last month online. Oh, there's Trump supporters. They're a MAGA movement. Boycott it. They got violent. There was threats made. It's amazing how people that will preach and scream and go on about freedom of speech, but yet they're the first ones to bitch, gripe, and moan when people that they don't agree with speak their mind. Hence the reason you guys all know my least favorite saying out there. I hate when people use just saying, just being honest. I speak the truth. There's so many, they made fun of it in Talladega Nights. And I'm saying, with all due respect, that's just that's a cop-out. That really is, because if the situation's in reverse, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, those people that love to say that would be the first ones to get pissed off. Oh, hello, Miss Nancy. You joined us on a fun one tonight. Like I said, it's hard to keep a sense of humor when I can't even turn on, I like to get onto TikTok because it was fun. Instagram, all these social medias, it was fun. There's a reason I quit watching regular news. And it just so happened today I decided to, because even the news stations are divided, I made sure to turn on MSNBC. I checked out CNN. I checked out Fox News. I looked at all these different ones. And it's just, it's to the point where, something has to give. People have to start taking accountability for what they do, for what they say, not make excuses. If you fuck up, guys, own it. Excuse me. There's not a person in this room, and I'd say the good majority that likes to watch this, that join us, all of us have mental health. All of us deal with it in our own way. But I can honestly say nobody in this room uses it. The only time I did once, I went into a dark place, a really dark place one time, and hence a lot of people remember that famous video. But I owned it. I made no excuses. And I still stand behind what I said that day. But, I haven't, that was the last time I used this platform to, what's a good way to put this, kitty cat? I'll take your opinion on it. Vent?
I don't know if that would be right.
We all vent on here, it's I don't know a good way to put it. I've chosen other avenues. And whether it pisses people off or not, now, if I'm mad, I let people know instead of keeping it bottled up. And we talk it out. If we got to scream and yell, I can't preach it and then not live by it. Say what you got to say. And at the end, you have an adult beverage or Coke and some, Dr. Pepper and Sprite, however you want to look at it. And then you go about your business. And if either side has any bit of maturity, once cooler heads prevail, you sit back and think about it. Okay, well, they said this to me. Now where can we meet in the middle? And everything that's going on, there is no meeting in the middle anymore. I remember Sarah, my wife, making a comment not long ago about the possibility of a civil war. What has Bobby got on this? The videos from today are what our guys in Vietnam witnessed and then came back home and lost their minds because of it. But today, almost instantly, any 8-year-old with a phone can watch it from multiple angles. And then they can watch a young Ukrainian refugee get murdered on a bus. God have mercy on us all. Yeah, we talked about that. It's kind of impressive that, especially on a campus, so much CCTV, security cameras. They have it. I tell you what, Who all remembers the Kent State Massacre? We learned about that in school. Some of you guys have lived through it. You know, that changed things quite a bit. And then with all the school shootings that have happened, I guess apparently we had another one today
in Colorado.
You know, with so much, footage, it's really hard to do anything without being seen. How about the Ring camera? Everybody's seen that one, hasn't they?
Mm-hmm.
We brought that up just the other day. I mean, vehicle could pull up in front of the house. It could be 100 feet from the house, and it'll still pick up. Luray, 47 school shootings have happened in 2025 so far alone. People wonder why they scream and cry for gun control. But what is fucking gun control, honestly? You got one side, thinking they're trying to take all our guns. You got another side saying, yeah, take the guns.
And you got the middle saying, take the gun from the
How about
fugitives.
keep the guns out of the hands of people that don't need to have them? I'm a gun enthusiast. I'm a hunter. I believe in, carrying and protecting ourselves. But I don't think every Tom, Dick, and Harry should have a gun. Honestly, now if you want to crack down and make it, a little more harder, because most places it's a 24-hour turnaround. After you put, how about vetting just a little bit more? Yes. The one thing I just realized, and thank you, Kitty Cat. Oh, wow. Now we can hear it. It always sounds a lot better when I have my mic on. Nancy, you agree? No, we have our family reunion at a rod and gun club. Makes it fun when you're sitting down to eat and all of a sudden you hear somebody sighting in their rifle about 300 yards away. Fact is, guns will never leave the hands of people. So, in my mind, gun control only applies to making it harder for the ones that should not have guns. I know. It comes up how? How do you do that? I'm not going to lie. I like how Tennessee, when you apply to have your carry permit, you have to go through the gun safety course. They make you go in and know how to properly handle a weapon. Who's seen these stupid videos on YouTube, Instagram, people, fucking around with these guns, goofing off, trying to act all hard, acting tough, and then they either end up shooting themselves in the leg, or they shoot a wall, they'll shoot the ceiling, something. How about back when remember when it was a thing about 2-3 years, was it 3 years ago, 4 years ago now, where cops were getting targeted? And I remember one video in particular where a cop pulled up to a red light and these kids in the car beside them started recording, and then they were showing that they had guns and that they could take his life at any point. I'll kill a cop. I'll kill a cop. And they're sitting there flashing a gun around, but not in view of the cop. They kept it low. Of course, they made sure that the window was up and so on and so forth. Yeah. I'm also a firm believer in when you have a large crowd of people, your security needs to go up. Especially with how politically charged things are nowadays. You cannot sleep on the fact that, when you got two factions literally almost at war with each other, that there's not going to be violence. So when you've got one that is a strong I'm not going to use the affiliation. When they're strong on one side, and that's what they're going to go and talk about, rest assured, there's going to be a lot of people there that's not going to be happy. And they're going to want to fight. They're going to want to argue. They're going to want to, there's going to be disruptions. And how do even the way they do it is just childish. Charlie Kirk had he was at a rally. He was doing a rally, and he always invited everybody to come up and debate him. It didn't matter which side. Come up and debate me, is what that man would say. And the only thing I can say that I didn't always agree with what he said. There was times, though, when you got a debate like that, and let's just say you outwit the other person. And when I say wit, guys, I'm not talking about, in a funny way. When the person going up there, because how many of us have, it sounded good in your head, but then when it came out vocally, it hit you all at once. Not me. He had a bad habit of when there was one that would just, in his opinion, was so far out of it. It got to the point where he was almost making fun of them. There's a time and a place. And when you got a conversation, especially, why do you think, guys, we always say, two things we hate to talk about: politics and religion. Something that's going to divide. Well, when you have a conversation where you're already divided, don't provoke the other person by making fun of them. There was people, though, that would come up on his rallies. Like, there's one in particular. He had a gentleman go up, was trying to ask a question, and all of a sudden you had some asshole in the background with a bullhorn and a microphone. It was interrupting people. So the guy that came up to the mic graciously stepped aside. Charlie called the guy up. The other guy, he'd come up, and in between talking, he'd sit there and, into the mic. He had to use the bullhorn. Why? Do you need that type of attention? They can hear you just fine. There's a mic right in front of you. Trust me, if you'd ever seen any of those clips, you can be heard. How about the other ones? The screaming. Where did that come about? Does anybody know why the primal scream? There's when I talk about provoking, how about the ministers or the Christian that wants to go into a neighborhood knowing full well that there's a large gay community, and now they're going to go in there and preach? Okay, again, there's that freedom of speech, right? They feel like they need to try and convert. First off, is it really anybody else's business? Because if last I checked, was it not in the Bible that only God can judge? Now, when I said that to a Christian one time, we'll call him, he says, yes, but in the Bible it says if you call yourself a Christian, you are to be held to a higher standard. By who? You? So if I say I'm a Christian, I have to meet your standards? No, that's, to me, that is judging. The point being, though, is, again, another viral video. Preaching the word. And this triggered, obviously, one of the locals. And they come over and refer to it as the neighborhood. And every time the show, they're like, oh, you can't be here. He goes, well, it's a public place. I can be here. She goes, no, but you can't be, you don't need to be here speaking at this, the neighborhood. And he says, well, I've said, and she immediately goes into this, like, almost visceral scream. And he said, please, as soon as he said, please don't, she did it again. Every time he would go to talk, she would scream. Why? Anybody? Cat? I mean, did we not
Just be front and center.
did we not punish our kids when they screamed at us because they didn't get what they wanted? Does that not sound like that to anybody else? Now, I played both sides of the coin there. I felt like, this individual being there provoked. Again, there's a time and a place. In my opinion, if you want to convert people, invite them. Those that want to be converted will show up. How many people have had to knock on the door?
A couple times. We just tell them.
I always try to be gracious. I'll sit down and I'll listen to it. I remember one time I was outside trying to mow my grass and they approached me. And the one young lady had on a Kevlar vest. It wasn't a bulletproof vest, it was a stab vest. It's like what we do here. Nobody's forced to come on. We've already dropped, like I said, we dropped the link. If you guys want to come on and you can have the same opinion, you can have a difference of opinion. Conversation goes a long way. And I think people have forgotten how to talk. People have forgotten how to, what's a good way to, meet in the middle. And it's, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, it's only going to get worse before it gets better. I have to throw something out there to one of my coworkers. He asked about the show. Of course, everybody knows, we do this podcast, and the question always comes up. What's the subject? Well, there isn't. It's bar conversation. It's just simple talk. Whatever comes up, comes up. A lot of times, hell, we'll start a conversation before you know it. It's squirreled off in a different direction, not even, and then we'll forget what the point of the first conversation was. Done that a million times. And I said there are two things we try to avoid. Do we touch on one more than the other? Yes. But we don't talk politics, we don't talk religion, we don't try to divide. And ever since then, he very rarely pops on. But he does come in. He has sent a few messages before, but he was actually appreciative of that. And that was why he likes to pop on, because he says he's got his own political beliefs. He doesn't express them to anybody because they're his beliefs, and you're not going to change my mind, he said. Perfect. Sports is another thing. We can have, there's divisive conversation that can be fun. We've had Arliss on here, or attack anyone's thoughts, always talk and explain. Hooper. Well said, young man. Now, there's been multiple times where you have a conversation where it's just, I think of the lyrics of the Guns N' Roses song. What we have here is failure to communicate. Some people you just can't reach. The conversation works best when both people have an open mind. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to agree in the end. I mean, you can pitch all day long. I do. I invite other people to do it. But when I have a conversation with somebody, if I'm going to say something about somebody, I'm going to have something to back it. Otherwise, you're one of those people that just ends up talking out your ass. You're arguing just to argue at that point. You know, look how nasty things got back in the 60s. It happened again in the 90s. Ooh, there you go. You want a conspiracy theory? In the 60s, we had the protests, we had the war, we had all that violence going on. The 90s, same thing happened. LA almost was completely burnt to the ground. 30 years later, what do we got going on again? You know, we're history is always doomed to repeat itself. Oh, Johnny boy, what's going on, brother? Well, I got the whole work family coming in now. Yeah, it's not exactly the light and whimsical as we try to keep it usually. It's just one of those, you know. What do we got? Good song, great cover. That was a Bob Dylan song. And The Failure to Communicate is from a Western. Cool Hand Luke. Yes, very good, Bobby Ryder. It's crazy to see how much this world is messed up. I'm seeing it more and more every day. And normally I don't, like I said, I don't like to really get into these type of conversations. But I feel at this point, it's just, you know, when you have the stabbing in North Carolina, that poor girl. Then you had, you know, bear in mind, the man was, you know, whether you agreed or disagree, he was a father of two and a husband. You know, when you have a senseless killing like that, people seem to forget there's more than one victim. You know, if I'm not mistaken, he had a newborn. And now both kids are going to grow up without their father. You know, let's go back to the Trump shooting. Who remembers that? You know, again, somebody innocent in the stands, lost their life. And that was a case of collateral damage. Just somebody that decided, you know, well, I missed, now I'm opening fire. Chew on that one for a second as we take our break. On a side note, I did get a message today, and our friends up there in Long Island have just released another single along with a video. So guys, this is Resist the Temptation. It Takes a Village. This is their official music video. We will be right back with more.
Never will admit you're wrong and see right through it all.
And welcome back, welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was our friends Resist the Temptation out of Long Island, New York. That is their newest single. I think that's the third release from this newest album of theirs. It is called It Takes a Village. I'm still trying to figure out where they came up with soul metal on by Ah. So, Kitty Cat, let's go ahead and drop that link one more time. Let's see if we can get some people on here. So, I need some back and forth banter. As you can tell, I'm foregoing my normal Yingling and Iron City for something a little bit more warm and cozy, we'll call it. In case you guys were wondering, this is my Maker's Mark number 46. It's French oak, but it's not the caskmate. I do want to get that again sometime here. Kitty Cat, you've been awfully quiet over there. Just kind of letting me go, or do you have opinions? I could use some back and forth. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you disagree? And if you do, where? I got the half smile. It is pretty ironic. I would put if you're easily triggered alert when all it took was one more video I seen today and the news to kind of trigger me.
I want to stay pretty quiet because I find it very, very opinionated and very triggered very quickly. Like we say on our show, every single night that we have a show is just our opinion. Everybody in this world is entitled to their own opinion. And in my opinion, there's not a single person on this earth that
What has transpired this week?
deserves to lose their life over giving their opinion.
Arliss, welcome to the show. And I agree with that 100%, Kitty Cat. My main problem is there's a lot of people, and when I say a lot, that's sugarcoating it. That is really downplaying it. There's a lot of people out there that right now want to force their opinion on everybody else. And if you don't agree with their opinion, you are now their enemy.
That's fine. That is completely, totally fine.
Forcing your opinion on others?
No,
Okay. I'm talking this.
that's again, you're entitled to your opinion.
Okay.
Where I'm not comfortable is when people are trying to force their opinion or their religion or their beliefs, try to convert you to their side. Again, everybody is entitled to their opinion. So you have yours. Allow me to have mine, whether they're the same as yours or not.
And that goes back to the civility of things.
But again, whether I believe in your opinion as my own, you don't deserve to be killed because your opinion is not mine. I can sit there and I could go on camera. I could go all over the world and tell everybody that I absolutely cannot stand the color green. And if you do not agree with me that the color green is just not good, it's an example.
Her example.
It's
What a
just,
coincidence. Her example.
yeah, because that's exactly.
It was right there for you.
Yeah. Again, I can preach until I'm blue in the face, in my opinion. But that's exactly what it is. It's my opinion. If you agree with me, great. If you don't, that is fine. It's the ones that feel that if I don't agree with their opinion, then I'm bad. Well, I don't need, I have never ever been one to like authority figures, period. I've always been very opinionated. Believe it or not, I've actually been very verbal most of my life. So being the one behind the camera and quiet 90% of the time is a completely different personality.
On a show where we say you're allowed to have your opinion. Or then
I am not okay with somebody forcing their stuff on me, but I am not going to. Okay, this is where I'm actually gonna
go ahead.
get into a little. I'm not gonna go against my God and say, I don't agree with you, so I hate you. Believe it or not, and you know things in my past, I've told you about things in my past, and there's not a single person in my past that has hurt me that I can actually say I hate. Because to hate them is for me to hate myself. Because that goes against my God and what I believe in. Again, that's my opinion.
This would be so much better. Preach, Lady G. We got two. So we got. It's like Rebel Soul. You don't need them around you. Around
Exactly.
anyhow.
Exactly. You don't. If you cannot accept my opinion to be my opinion and it to be okay for it to be my opinion, I don't need you in my life. I'm not going to say because your opinion is not the same as mine that I hate you and you have to die. No, because that would be against my beliefs and my person.
And the reason we were laughing, guys, because my cousin also came on here, preached Lady Jesus.
Sorry,
No, well, you got to remember,
I warned you.
I'm not picking, but that's why we post the comments because the people on YouTube can't see. But she was in the middle of conversation, so I mean, she was making a very good point, honestly. And this is why I say, if you're going to get into a debate with somebody, if you're going to get into a conversation, you need to be open-minded enough to, listen to their side. And that goes for the person that's, saying that, it's on both sides. You both have to be open enough to listen, for starters. And even if you don't agree at the end,
You still have to be willing and open enough to listen to the other person.
well, I was going to say shake hands afterward and say, hey, you know what? Let's agree to disagree on this. You tap the glass and you go on. And unfortunately, again, you could do. Would you agree with like about 70% of us anymore do not have that same belief? People are so divisive, over opinionated is a good way to put that one. There is such a thing. That again, it's my way or no way. You either agree with me or you
And I
You
tell
hate
you
me.
what, and I tell you what, I was told that 4 times in my life. my way or the highway. I was 15 years old the first time I was told that by my mother. Again, I'm not a person that gets along well with authority figures. Your parents are your biggest authority figure, especially when you're 15 and you're that rebel stage. You can ask my mother. I took the highway. I grabbed my stuff and I said some words that I regretted, but I said some words to my mother and I left. About a year later, I heard that same exact saying from another authority figure. Again, I chose the highway, not their way.
Don't you think?
Every single time I keep choosing the highway, it keeps ending up with me in handcuffs.
Okay, so history repeats itself. At some point, maybe instead of taking the highway, and this is again conversation, maybe what they're saying is, I don't like to say my way or the highway, so let me get that out of the way right now. And we've had conversations about doing this. That there was certain ones I did my damnedest to avoid until I felt like it was time to say it in a different way.
Didn't work out to your favor, though, did it?
Yeah, it did. Because we're all still together and we're all still working at stuff.
But when it came down to it, and it was said in not those words, what was my first response?
Well, if I remember correctly, you were like, "Oh, I have a problem with authority." There comes a time and a place to use. You can only talk so many times. It's like, it's like people saying, my way or the highway. Remember how you said you can talk to you blue in the face? And you said, how many times did it not work out in your favor?
Twice.
All right. So
But
that
the
doesn't
other-
mean
The other 2 times it did.
it doesn't mean the other person is wrong. It's my way or the highway. Thank you, Danny.
And which is absolutely hilarious, me having a problem with authority figures. And normally authority figures intimidate to a point. But there's a gentleman on here that is an authority figure that I absolutely love to death. But that's because he doesn't take his authority and push it.
So when you say push it,
Doesn't give you the ultimatums.
Hmm?
Doesn't give you the ultimatums. But then again, I also haven't pushed buttons with that authority figure either. But that's because I have enough respect for that person.
well, at the same time, I mean, there's only so many times, like me, you're passive, you try to work, you constantly say we, you constantly try to say, hey, look, this is what, is going on. This is, try this way, try this way, try this way. But there's only so many times that the people you're talking to can buck you before you finally have to kind of. How many times with your kids before you finally say, my house, my rules? This is. And honestly, I've got a supervisor on here. And at some point, even that person has a breaking point.
There's a reason why I'm my own boss.
Hmm?
There's a reason why I'm my own boss.
But in the end, Yeah.
I don't pay well enough.
Mhm.
I don't pay well enough.
And the hard part about saying what I said is the fact at the time we weren't making anything at all. Because we had sponsored, then lost it for no reason whatsoever.
Economy.
Yeah. We've had other sponsors say, yeah, well, yeah, put our name out there. Enough said on that one.
Mhm.
But at the end,
Keep
who's still
fighting
sitting
for
here
what
and
you
what's going on? Things got said. And again, I can't sit there and say you have to be open minded. And, like I said, when cooler heads prevail, you sit back and you go, okay, let's sit back and think about what they said. And I've said it a million times, kitty cat. Could I do it? Sure. Would it be the world's biggest pain in the ass? Oh, hell yeah. I like the team we have now. And that's because we have conversation, people. You have to find some way to meet in the middle. Or you're just gonna implode. You really will. Or I guess it wouldn't be implode, you'd explode.
Well, so go back to our original.
Okay.
This person who was taken very tragically.
Which one? Charlie Kirk or the young lady? Which were both senseless.
He's voicing his opinion, but he was trying to push his opinion. I may not agree with his opinion. I may get angry or upset because his beliefs are so far against everything that I've been taught or that I believe in. But it does not give me the right to be the executioner.
Judge, jury, and execution would be the best way to put that one.
In
At
that
the end of the
way,
day,
it's
they
the
ended up.
executioner. So, again, to go on another topic that I don't specifically speak on very much, I will talk about it with my friends, my close friends, but I don't openly say it on air much. I have struggled with mental health since I was a very small child, to the point where I had time spent away from my loved ones. A big portion of time spent away from my loved ones because of my mental health. But in all that time, not one time did my rage or my anger ever turn to the point where it would take another life, because my other beliefs are stronger. You guys joke. Sandy even says, you guys joke and call me Lady Jesus. But I am far, so far. I would never believe myself to be that superior that I would think it was okay to hurt somebody to that extent that it would take their life.
in case some of you newer people on here are wondering, the reason we call her Lady Jesus, that's what will make people laugh just a little bit right now, just to break the monotony.
I'm never on camera. So you see Bill sitting in front of this camera,
And we had another person here at the time.
and you're just talking, and out of nowhere comes my voice.
The first time she did it, she was outside, guys. She went out to smoke. And she had made some comment, and we could hear her over the speakers. It was just kind of, yes, God. So that became the moniker of Lady Jesus. It's not a bashing on her, nothing like that. You know, she's not a member of a cult, Dan. Dan drinks the Kool-Aid. We'll see you at work Friday, buddy.
I'm
Actually, no, we won't. That's his day off.
follow my beliefs in my own way, and I don't push them on anybody.
I hate to say it, I've seen other. I wouldn't say that Charlie Kirk exactly pushed his belief. You won't see him until Monday. Oh, is he off Saturday too? Oh, fantastic. Lucky him. That's okay. I'm sure he'll have plenty to. Kitty cat's got that look. Yeah, we've got one buzzing around here that's driving me nuts too. I don't know.
He's landed literally right here on you. Right.
He was on the hat. He had to.
No, he was trying to work.
Like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, we would all be a lot better off if. I mean, it's fine to fight. It's fine to argue. It's fine, you know. There is a time and a place to yell. Sometimes you just have to let loose. Sometimes you have to let it go. Lord knows we've done it. But at the end of the day, I mean, you have to be willing to compromise after. And even though she very rarely ever gives me a compliment, I got to compliment this young lady all day long. You guys have heard it. She is very strong-willed. I've known you for what, a year now? A little over a year? Somewhere along those?
VFW in Grove City at 6.
Let me see. Oh, it's the VFW right here in town, literally 2 blocks from where we're at. Two blocks, somewhere in there. I know it takes me about.
It's down by RX Express, down by the railroad tracks, but
It's right beside the railroad tracks, yes, and it starts at 7 if I'm not mistaken. I'll keep you posted, buddy. One of us will message you and let you know, and you'll get to meet Dan. Well, you've met Dan. Never mind. I'm sorry. Dan doesn't drink, guys, but Dan is going to have a fun time, and I've actually been busting on Mike to maybe let me get up there and sing. Possibly even Sarah too.
I don't drink either when I go to that establishment. I have
So there you go.
soda.
Perfect. And then afterwards, we're going to go to another location. Short walk,
Oh, okay.
10 feet. But like I said, guys, at the end, you have to be willing to. You can't take it 100% personal. That doesn't mean you don't take it personal at all, but you can't let that fully 100. And I thought we squirreled. Now, at the end of the day, guys, I mean, I do to work with these guys. The famous video, I promised everybody that was never going to happen again. And trust me, you're not going to get a lot of shows like this. This one just, there was enough that I felt like it needed to be addressed. We say it at work all the time, communication. When there's a breakdown in communication, Dan can be the first one to tell you. He has seen it firsthand. Hooper. John was on here a little while ago. Trust me, guys, you need to communicate. And at the end of the day, the other person has to be willing to listen too. Where you both have to be, let me rephrase that, you both have to be willing to listen. It works both ways. Otherwise, we're doomed, guys. We've got. I'm gonna quote somebody I watch. You know, he's one of those guys that does these gym videos. Like when you have these influencers come in there and they want to record while people are trying to work out, and they'll get pissed off because somebody walked in front of their camera. Or you've had, you know, I can say this on here, let's call them porn models that want to get on there and try and do some cute stuff, and people don't appreciate that. His catchphrase at the end is, you have to do better. Mind your own business. And it kind of makes sense at the end of the day. It's not mind your own business, you know, leave me the fuck alone. It's mind your own business. Think smarter. Think about what he puts together. He says you have to do better. Mind your own business. You know, I almost said it. The poor model wants to get on there and, you know, hey, I'm doing my thing, and if you bother me, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? The person trying to record while they're sitting there, they're ripping out their, you know, their curls. Somebody walks in front of the camera and they get pissed about it. You see where I'm going? No? Yay? Anybody? So on that note, guys, we have hit that time of the night. I did promise them we would do both. So before we go, guys, I know Dan and Hooper have heard this one. You've heard this one. Now let's watch the video. One more from our friends up there in New York. Resist the Temptation. Why are you shaking your head? Long Island, New York. Huh?
New Jersey.
Long Island's in New York.
And New Jersey.
We're going to agree to disagree on this one, folks. See? And I'm not the only one that, you know, you got to laugh. You got to have fun with it. Guys, this is Resist the Temptation. This is their official music video, Villainize Me.
Took that shit
Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was our friends up there in New Torque, Long Island, New Torque. Or is it Jersey? We're not sure. Apparently, we're all going to have to get a map. Oh, good. And I'm getting a telephone call from California. Should I answer it? I apologize for that, folks. I thought I had it on vibrate. Bar phone rings every now and then. Kitty Cat knows all about that. So, Kitty Cat clued me in that she does have what we used to refer to, well, we still refer to, we just haven't done it for quite a while now, is our last shot of the night. And while she is giving her last shot, guys, the other thing we're going to do before we close this one out, Kitty Cat must like this one. What do we got?
Toxic sludge.
Oh, that's making me nervous. My stomach was fine the next day, guys, except for I had to go to the bathroom quite often. And if I'm not mistaken, I saw pineapple juice, coconut juice, coconut rum.
And melon liqueur.
Oh, we'll do this in one of our tall shot glasses.
Our countdown to Halloween.
Toxic sludge. Wonder if I can find anything else on down here. Any more blizzards back there? I'm just making sure. So on that note, guys, it is melon liqueur, which we go to Kepler. Our coconut rum, I always go with Parrot Bay. And we haven't opened one. We do not.
Bottom shelf of the
No.
bar.
Oh, well, yeah, that's why these are, but I was looking for one that we might have had open. So, Kitty Cat. What's your thoughts, sweetie?
So it's just very simple to go on tonight's topic. Again, I don't push my beliefs on anybody. It is just my opinion. But I honestly have lived my life following the golden rule. As you do unto others, as you would have others do unto you.
And that's actually a very good rule to abide by.
You want to be heard, then you need to learn to listen. If you want, oh wow,
Keep your thought process. You're doing good. And to answer your question, Dan, yes, we are going on TikTok tonight.
Again, if you want to be heard, you need to be able to listen. If you want to be loved, you need to learn how to love. If you want it turns out to be however it ends up, whatever you want to feel is what you need to get out there.
I like it. Very well spoken, young lady. And on that note, we go from green. Check it out, guys.
Hello in the dark.
It's, yeah, I almost want to turn the lights off just to see what it's going to do. That looks gnarly. This, guys, is the toxic sludge. My final shot. There are good ships. There are wood ships. There are ships that sail the sea. But the best ships are friendships. And may they always be. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That is one for the books, sweetie. Guys, make sure you check us out tomorrow night. It is our Thirsty Thursday Thoughts and Shots, our sports edition. We are going to find out who won and who lost last week. If I'm not mistaken, it was actually a little closer than people expected it to be.
The three-way tie for first.
We did, I will call it real quick, we did hit the parlay for the very first time ever. So if you guys are wanting to get involved, hit us up. We'll make you rich. Make you famous. Sunday night weekend hangover. We have our Monday night bartender coming up, and again, our Wednesday night open bar. I appreciate you guys sticking it out tonight. Thank you, everybody, for popping on here. Again, we don't always hit that deep, but it's just every now and then there's certain things you kind of got to bring to light, guys. And we always try to promote positivity on here. We always try to have fun. And actually, at the end of the day, the message is positive. Guys, we got to do better than what we're doing, honestly. So, on that note, thank you, everybody, for coming in. Always remember, everything we say on this show is just our opinion. But then again, kitty cat. Oh, you beautiful. Guys, for all you that are on TikTok, we'll see you here shortly. You all have a good night.
Thank you for stopping in and listening to the Another Shot podcast. We shared some drinks, stories, and laughs. But it's time to say goodnight. Join us next time on Another Shot podcast.
If you're looking for a party, then man, have you found it? Now the shot is coming raw and unbounded. The whiskey's always talking and the beer's overflowing. Now the shot is gonna hit you with the mind overloaded. The bar is always open, but no inhibitions. Another shot will leave your sensory